the kind of pipes you have, which is garbage, and you can see where that's gotten you. Then there's bronze, which is pretty good unless something goes wrong, and something always goes wrong. Then there's copper, which is the only pipe I use. It costs money. It costs money because it saves money.
Soundstripe.
Blockbusters, a classic movie podcast where if you're like us and you miss the days of packed movie theaters and movie stores, and this is the podcast for you. I'm your host, Caleb Suggs. Joining me is co-host Dakota Lowry.
What's up, guys? I feel like it's been like a month since I've been on this podcast, so I might talk a lot tonight about this movie.
And also joining us is the birthday boy, Ernie Ferguson.
Caleb, snap out of it.
Oh, yeah.
Happy birthday, by the way.
Happy birthday.
Which, when you hear this podcast, it's going to be the day before this day. But yes, so when we're actually recording this, it is my birthday.
It is your birthday.
Yes, and I'm
60,
almost
70?
double Jell's age. Yes, I am.
According to my employees at work, I'm in my 70s.
No, I am 51, and I act like I'm like 25. So, you know.
Hey,
fit right in.
Growing up is overrated.
I agree with that 100%. That's why I try to avoid it.
I thought nobody was going to agree with me, and I was like, okay.
I mean, my age is different than my wife's, but our ages are like reversed. So, you know, I'm her age in maturity, and she's past my age in maturity. So
it happens, you know. I keep hearing from a lot of older people at church and stuff like that. If they always give me the advice of don't get old, and I'm like, well, you know, there's a couple things I don't have a choice of in life, and that's one of them. So,
well, yeah, mentally I don't have to worry about that. Physically, my warranty's already out on a lot of parts of my body. I mean, we just talked about it beforehand. My smell, my hearing, my sight, pretty much are non-existent. I mean, well, you know, the smell has to do with coaching football all my life. You know, football locker rooms aren't the most beautifully smelling places in the world. You know, my hearing, something my wife says, it's not that I'm deaf, it says I just don't pay attention. So that could be that too. You know.
You could always go freeze yourself like Captain America.
Because apparently that works. Isn't there something where Walmart, was it Sam Walton or somebody that freezed their head or something?
It was Walt Disney.
It was
Walt
Disney.
Disney. I got the Walt. I was close.
He's underneath Disney World. What are you talking about? They definitely have a secret facility underneath. They've got the money for it. If anybody has the money for it, it's Disney.
No doubt about that.
I bet they're tied into the Denver airport too. That's where the Illuminati is going to come out of. That's New World Order is the Denver airport.
Oh, we all know that.
Well, anyways, this week, since we didn't actually get to tell anybody last week because Dakota wasn't on here.
Before we do this week's movie, do you want me to give you my review or my number for last week?
No, because you weren't here. We don't care.
I know. Give it to because for the sanctity of the spreadsheet. I need that number.
I will say this. I did have like 3 or 4 people that texted me and asked me what my rating was for this week's. So the people want to know, Suggs. The people are waiting on edge.
I'm just messing with you. If you'd actually listen to the... By the way, he told us before we went on here that he hasn't actually listened to us yet because we can't even can't even get our own
hashtag spoiler alert
to listen to our own podcast.
Look, dude, I told you I didn't want to be influenced.
Yeah, well, yes, because we were very influential people. I mean, you know, all the tens of people that listen, you know.
Yeah, no kidding.
All right, Dakota, bless us. What is your
So last week,
Bad Boys? By the way, Bad Boys is the movie we did last week.
Yeah, maybe it was last week. My rating was an 8. I enjoyed the movie. Great buddy cop movie. You know, I laughed a lot in it. There was, you know, times that it was more serious, times that it, you know, But I enjoyed it overall. But that's
I don't
not the
think,
movie we're talking about this week.
I don't think that changes the combined average score, does it? It's still the same, isn't it?
It went
I
from
think
it went down, dropped from an 8.25 to 817. So that ties
Okay.
it for 15th with Friday Night Lights.
Okay. All right. So there you go. 8 point. What you say?
17.
17 is for Bad Boys. Ties at 15 with Friday Night Lights.
So
And now,
sorry about that. Some of us have to work for a living, so we're not able to be here every week.
You know what?
Overrated.
We were being so nice last week when you
We
were
were
here
being
talking.
nice. We were
talking
nice about you.
How you have a job that's tough, and you go do
and
work.
We don't.
And here you are giving us shade.
How would I know? I haven't listened to the podcast.
Well, maybe you should.
Officially, Dakota, we hate you. So there we go.
I'm going to change it back to 2 friends and that other guy.
Well, the problem is they still think that's me, though. That's the problem.
Hey, look, you've officially been in more episodes than I have now.
That's true.
Oh, wow. Yeah. There you go. Screw you.
So technically, I am the other guy.
So I should be like number 2 build then. So, yeah.
There you go. So what are we doing this week?
This week is Moonstruck, 1987.
It's your movie.
That was for the effect. It was
okay. Sorry, I ruined the effect. I apologize.
No, he's just saying that he really did forget what we were doing this week.
I did have to remind myself when I went to pull the movie up. I was like, "What movie did I pick again?" Because I've never heard of it.
I got Dakota snap out of it instead.
Yeah, but
Moonstruck is a 1987 American romantic comedy film directed by Norman Jewison and written by John Patrick Shanley. It stars Cher as a widowed American woman who falls in love with her fiance's hot-tempered and strange younger brother, played by Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, so I really more picked this movie. I really kind of wanted to go against the status quo of what we do. I think we've done a lot of comedy, and I mean we've done some like Princess Bride and things like that, but we've never really went into like the romance side of things, and that's really why I wanted to do this. I really wanted. It's all started when I wanted to find a Nicolas Cage movie to watch because I recently watched National Treasure, and I was like, you know what, I wonder what older movies he was in, and so I started looking up and I found this one. And I saw that Cher was in it, and I've only ever seen Cher in one of the movie. It was is it Moulin Rouge that she was in? With Christina Burlesque, yeah, with Christina Aguilera and all them.
That's sad that you watched it, and sad that I knew that.
Great, my wife loves it. But anyways, like I really enjoyed Cher in that movie, and I was like, you know what, why not? It's a little against the status quo of what we do, and I'm always open to try something once. So.
What?
Why not watch the movie?
First off, why are you giving me that look?
I can't remember what you like. Shook your head after something he said. I can't.
Yeah,
remember.
National Treasure. It's such a great
National
movie.
Treasure. Yeah, you said you shook your head with National Treasure.
No, but like shaking my head, like, oh, it's such a great movie.
Oh, okay.
Not bad. I thought it was
the other direction.
No, I love National Treasure. I've seen that probably
good. That
like
wasn't
20
disgusted.
times.
I'm glad it wasn't disgusted, Caleb. We still got more time in the podcast for that to arrive.
Yeah, well, I'm glad Dakota went through there and told us because I did have some questions. I don't have an issue. It probably was time for us to do a romantic comedy, but I was really questioning why, out of all the romantic comedies, you landed on this one.
What would you say that this is a comedy?
I would say it's more of a comedy than a romantic movie. Just because of the comedy of errors that go along, anything that Nicolas Cage does this, other than the speech when they were outside of his apartment, was dialed up to 10. And was when he starts talking the story about how he lost his hand and fingers and stuff like that. Everything he did, I thought, was funny. Danny Aiello's character when he's in Sicily and his mom is quote unquote dying and she ain't dying at all, and he just breaks down and starts crying and boohooing. That to me was funny. The old man, Cosmo's dad, I thought was funny. He's bringing the dogs into the graveyard that says no dogs, and all the dogs are peeing on the grave, the flowers of the grave. I mean, to me, it's more of a comedy than it is I mean, because truly, what is romantic about the movie? I mean, Cosmo cheats on Rose. I mean, Cher's character Loretta is a widow. She basically kind of like forces Johnny's hand. I mean, where's my ring? Why aren't you on a knee? Which I was waiting for her when Ronnie proposed, waiting for her to tell him that to get on the knee too, but she didn't. Then you have the possibility of Rose almost uh, possibly cheat. She was the only one that didn't cheat on somebody, but it seemed like she was close to doing it. So I to me it's less of a romantic movie I mean, I think it's more of a comedy than a romantic movie, just looking at it.
Yeah, no, I think where you point some of that stuff out, I can see the comedy in it. And there was a couple times that I was just kind of like, huh. Like the whole gimmick with Johnny leaving his bags everywhere, like I was just like, oh,
that
yeah.
made me chuckle every single time. Yeah. Because you
Um,
knew it after he did it twice, you knew, okay, here it comes.
Yeah, but I think the moment that made me laugh out loud the hardest was at the end with Pops, and he's sitting there crying with the tissues. And he looks at me and says, "Dad, are you okay?" And he says, "I'm just confused."
Yes.
I was legitimately laughing out loud at it. I was like, "Oh man."
I like when Rose threatens to like kick the dad because he keeps on don't feed the dogs any of my food that I cooked. I'm gonna
Mm.
kick you over and over again or something like that. I thought that was funny too.
Let me ask you this: do you think? Because Olympia, is it Dukakis?
Dukakis. Yeah.
Olympia Dukakis. She won an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for this film.
So did Cher. Cher won it for actress.
Yeah, and now Cher's I thought was very well deserved. I thought Cher did a
Really?
great job. Yeah.
Huh. I'm the other direction. I thought Olympia Dukakis should have got because I mean, one of the things I looked at is two other ladies that were in the running for I think best actress. One was Glenn Close in Fatal Attraction, who I thought that was a brilliant performance of an absolute unhinged psycho, just crazy person. And then Holly Hunter in Broadcast News. I thought she did better. I wasn't necessarily. I saw the improvement in Loretta as from the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie, but I didn't think of it as a stellar Oscar worthy performance. At least for me, I didn't. That's where I think Olympia Dukakis you can get away with not having to do more when you are the supporting actress. So I don't know. That's interesting. That's my take on it. I thought she was more deserving than Cher, but like I said, I thought Glenn Close was more deserving than Cher.
See, and it's also kind of hard too because like I'll be honest, I didn't really look up and see who Cher and all of them were going up against for their Academy Awards at that time.
So why'd you like her performance over Olympia Dukakis'?
See, I feel like Olympia's just didn't like it had a role in the film and it had a part in the film. And I'm not saying that Olympia didn't do a good job because she did do a good job in the film that she played in the role she played. It was just to me the role wasn't worthy of it, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Like it just she just kind of was there and made jests or made said things. I don't really think that she really did anything to kind of support the film, if that makes sense.
See, to me, she was the glue of the whole entire thing. She was the glue that kind of held the story together. The character John Mahoney's character Perry, the guy who was the professor that got dumped, that he ended up getting rid of two young students and telling them to pack up her stuff, didn't want any remnants of them, being left over. I thought where she told him, "Don't crap where you work, or don't crap where you eat, or whatever," telling him that the whole entire question about why men go after other women, and just kind of that existentialism type of thing. To me, again, I thought she was more of the glue of the movie. I don't think it flows as well without her. But again,
I guess I could see that now, especially now thinking about it, like because this is the role that's supporting Loretta's character. I mean, this is kind of I mean, you even see it at the beginning when she's talking to Loretta about about men and about about marrying and marriage and stuff like that. That she's telling him, that you don't marry for love, like you marry basically for convenience.
Yeah.
And it's it's just awful because men will get on your nerves if they do love you, and like I guess I could see more of the supporting. I think more at the time that I was watching the film, it didn't kind of click at the time.
I don't think, well, like the majority of this movie, I don't think it gets going probably until leading up to the
Mm-hmm.
opera, when Loretta gets her hair done. I think that's when the
Yeah.
movie starts to kick in. Because before that, I'll be honest, it was like pulling teeth for a while. But that's when it started. But again, you saw the significant difference in Cher when they again dyed her hair and things of that nature. You start to see the different side of Nicolas Cage's character, where again, when you first see him, he's in a wife beater shoveling coal. I mean, and you're thinking, okay, this guy's just an idiot type of thing. But here he is, schooled in art and opera. It's like, okay, wait a minute, who is this guy?
Mm-hmm.
So I get the funniest one, but the least likable character is Cosmo. Just the way he wouldn't answer anything, or just the way he was, but it was also kind of a little bit maybe sad humorous. That's just kind of what I thought about that.
Let me tell you, I think Nick Cage was casted perfectly for this. I think every movie that Nick Cage does, he kind of he does it over the top in a very type of way that Nicolas Cage can. And I keep thinking of the movie like of National Treasure, where he's going through all of his long explanations and things. Especially like I'm thinking of the one where they're looking at the $100 bill and the time on the $100 bill, and uh, but like even in this movie, it seems just like every time that he talks, other than
Hmm.
introducing himself, he's in this long and drawn out, just kind of over the top thing. And I really, it's like you said, when it's introduced that later on that he likes the opera and stuff, it
Yeah,
kind of clicks. It kind of makes sense why Ronnie would be that way.
yeah.
So
Which again, if you look at like in 2 years, if you want to see what type of characters that Nicolas Cage is good at playing, you have 86, Peggy Sue Gets Married,
mhm.
87, Raising Arizona, and 87, Moonstruck. If you watch all those are weird, quirky individuals. When he plays those weird individuals, you know, he like you go back to watch it. I think Valley Girl is like in '82 or something like that. He
This
plays
is the
that kind of
first
just
movie he was in, wasn't it?
that, or either Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I can't
That
remember
was
which one.
Fast Times. It was Fast Times, I think.
But you look at like, I mean, specifically when you go see Face Off, you know, there is a difference between when the start of the movie, and I won't say anything about it, the start of the movie, how he plays it, and then about a third of the way through the movie, then he plays it completely different, and you start to see that off the wall, that unhinged Nicolas Cage, which I think most people, even nowadays, even if he's in these B movies that are going straight to video, that's what they want to see. They want to see the unhinged, just like you said, just diatribe giving out, of Nicolas Cage, and again, like I said, you go see those three movies again, those back to back movies in 2 years, you see the fruit of Nicolas Cage, his character development.
I will say this, since Kamei asked me to, is that she thinks Nicolas Cage is fine in capital letters, and that her favorite movie with him in it is Valley Girl. So you're
Valley.
welcome, Kamei. I said it for you.
Well, I will tell you this: you could, if there's not a poster child for Hollywood glow up, the boy's teeth were
I was
hurting
thinking
in this
about it the whole
movie.
time.
I was getting distracted half the time. I was like,
Oh yeah.
dude, I mean, his teeth are. He looks like almost British. They were like rough. I was like, man, Nick Cage. You spent some money on some veneers, big time, as you got more money in the bank.
Which was he supposed to be playing an Italian character in this, or is it
Yes,
just?
this is the Italian part of New York. It is.
Oh,
I mean, everybody in here was Italian. That was the whole big thing about it, is everybody is Italian in this.
Is that
Wait,
why?
and I
Is that why
didn't.
it seems like it's in the 1960s, even though it's 1987?
Like it's a different part of the neighborhood of Goodfellas?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to
yes.
say. Yeah.
Yeah.
At no point when I was watching this movie did I think this is New York in 1987. It looked like the 50s or the 60s or something. The
Yeah, I
entire
mean
time.
when she's walking
Well,
around,
like she just played the radio though. She didn't even have a record player in there in
yeah,
the living room.
it's again, it goes back to probably, the opera scene again before it looks
I mean,
80s.
they show that here's how when I went back to think, because they don't say it's 1987. So only reason I figured that out, they show the picture of Daryl Strawberry in the
Yes.
bar. So that was okay. It's 1986, 87, because that was around the time when the Mets won the World Series.
But then you can also, y'all probably can't, but you can look at the cars and that's the 80s. All those boxes that people were driving, that was 80s right there too. And I guarantee you probably couldn't park that easy in New York. That they were.
Well, Moonstruck was released December 18, 1987. It grossed $122.1 million on just a budget of $15 million. It had a limited theatrical release, but the film earned critical and commercial success and received 6 nominations at the 60th Academy Awards, winning 3 for Best Actress from Cher, Best Supporting Actress for Dukakis, and Best Original Screenplay from Shanley, earning what's the Rotten Tomatoes score?
The Rotten Tomato scores for Moonstruck is a whopping 89, with the popcorn meter being 80.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you the character that I most related to was the old man at the very end, when he said when they're kind of quiet and he said, "Someone tell a joke," because I was waiting this entire time for this movie to be funny, and I kept reading because I never heard of it until Dakota mentioned, said that we were going to watch this. So as I was reading into it, I kept reading how funny this movie is.
To
movie's
me,
not funny.
Funny is not the word. It has humorous parts.
Yes, I mean there's parts where I'm like,
so that's you're right. This is not a comedy. This is not Dumb and Dumber. This is not Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I guess that's one of those things. Can you have a romantic movie
I think
overboard comedy?
I think this is a thing where it comes down to I like romantic comedies, but I'm used to romantic comedies from the thousands or whatever, like The Proposal or something like that. Maybe in 1987, this passes for a funny romantic comedy, but in 2025, especially if you're watching it for the first time, it does not hold up compared to modern romantic comedies.
Maybe this is why this is more of a, and I think we've talked about this other times, this is more of a cinema film. It's a film. It's not a movie. Like The Proposal, which I think is hilarious, but it's slapstick. It's, there is that different. Now, this is not Stripes or Caddyshack like comedies, but this is a movie made for cinema. Because if it weren't made for, if it was just a movie, it would not have had a limited release. It would have been, they would have sent it out and flooded it, and then it's only when it started to have some success, but you look at all the reviewers. I mean, whether it's Siskel, whether it's Ebert, whether whoever it was, they love this movie. And the only thing I can think of, because I'll be honest, the story dragged, but I guess it's the characters in it, because again, Johnny and Ronnie, I like Danny Aiello anyway, so, but Ronnie and Johnny why are they upset with each other? Well, because, Johnny distracted Ronnie and he cut his hand off. That's funny, Johnny's got his hand, Johnny's got his wife. I don't have a hand. I don't have a wife, So that's one of those things where with I guess the more time that we've started to do this is starting to in my mind, I'm starting to understand the difference between a movie and a difference between cinema. And that's why I have a hard time with movies like Goodfellas, where I think when I look back on it, I overrated it because I felt like it was cinema. and I didn't necessarily enjoy it as much as I thought I should have enjoyed it, and so I rated it what I thought I should have enjoyed it, or what I thought I should have rated it, and that goes back to we've talked about that several times.
So, and you say this was released for cinema. I saw somewhere written down that somebody's review of this that they said this was in like more like an opera because the writer drew a lot of their inspiration from Puccini, which actually is later on in the film is one of the songs that's being sung. Um, but anyways, he drew a lot of his inspiration from Puccini, and that he really enjoyed operas. And so this was an opera that was written for film without the singing. So
yeah,
I can see that.
I thought the kind of the same, not necessarily an opera, but I thought it had a very play-like.
yeah, it was more like a play than it really was a film. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I got that vibe as I was watching. Well,
yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
37-year-old Loretta Castorini, an Italian-American widow, works as a bookkeeper and lives in Brooklyn Heights with her parents Cosmo and Rose and her paternal grandfather Loretta's and her paternal grandfather. Loretta's boyfriend Johnny what's these Italian names? Camerari proposes to her before leaving for Sicily to tend to his dying mother. Loretta accepts, but she insists on carefully following tradition as she believes failing to do so originally led to her first husband's sudden death after 2 years of marriage. So we can't skip over the fact that the movie opens up with the playing of, was it That's Amore?
That's Amore by Dean Martin. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, gosh.
Which again, if this doesn't tell you it's an Italian movie,
it annoyed me so much.
I was all over it. I loved it.
I love the song because again, it's campy. You know, it's campy. But again, Moonstruck is, it is. It's an Italian movie.
Oh, and I had it stuck in my head for forever too. But yeah, so I mean, we jump right into. Well, never mind. Go ahead, Ernie.
No, yeah. Again, as we look and as we start to hear this big theme of bad luck or being cursed, just how Loretta starts to talk and things of that nature, and just the proposal part from Johnny, like it was like he wasn't even sure he wanted to do it.
There's so many red flags. I mean, this is how you know it's like some older woman and they're kind of like just getting married. Like, we're kind of like each other. So I'm older now, I'm living with my parents at 37 years old. Let's just get married. Cause he's like,
well, she even said she didn't love him. I mean,
he's like, he doesn't have a ring. He's not getting down on one knee. He's like, this is a nice suit.
When she asked for the pinky ring and he was like, he didn't want to give up.
Yeah.
I mean, again, is this a comedy? No, but that's humorous, and then when she said get on a knee, and he was like, well, what about my suit? And then you hear the guys.
This is a nice suit.
This is a nice suit, and the guys in the background says, is Johnny on his knees? That's a nice suit. They're talking about the suit again. Little humorous things that kind of slowly try to push this movie along.
The professor, who I guess it comes in later, but it's just a random beginning of the movie. He gets his drink thrown in his face by his younger student / girlfriend or whatever is going on there.
I definitely laughed at Cher's face when they're sitting there and when he said, she said he's too young for her or she's too young for him or something, and I can't remember what was his response. Something about having the control on his women, and Cher's face. Looking back at it, I was like, oh man, there's something's about to happen here.
He says,
control his women. So
you're gonna control his women. Yeah,
I want a ring.
He's like, what did he say? Something. Oh, it was like a guy not being able to control his woman is funny, and I'm like, okay. I'm gonna say that get slapped as hard as I can get slapped.
Yeah, again, just the interactions between Johnny and Loretta, anyways, were just kind of funny because again, she was just again, he's a solid guy.
Oh, you care so much for me.
Yeah.
You know it. Yeah, I know it's a nice suit. I bought it for you. I got it for you, or something like that. It came with 2 pairs of pants.
Yeah. That was great. And I like the fact that he likes her because she takes care of him. So again, there's a reason that he wanted to get married, as you find out later, because his mom is dying. Well, now that his mom's alive and she can probably still take care of him, that's why he doesn't want to marry her. That's why men are stupid sometimes.
The thing that was kind of, I guess, kind of cringe to me about this, and in this whole time was when they actually started talking about it was somewhere around this time, and I might be remembering that they're talking about, well, somebody leaving cheating on me with their brother or something or another, and we might be getting into it at the airport here in a second.
Oh, that was the old lady that was putting a curse on the plane. That was
Grandma needed to chill,
even though she doesn't believe in curses, but she's going to go down in the cold Mediterranean Sea.
You better not ever steal a man from Grandma, or she's coming for you.
And obviously, this is way before 9/11. So as she's talking about wishing the plane would crash and all this other kind of stuff. But yeah, she was going hard after that curse and stuff like that. Which, I mean, if she was at the airport, she probably drove her sister to the airport and was right there at the gate with her too. Which means she probably hugged her and kissed her and said, "I love you."
She had to be there to curse the plane.
Oh, that's true.
Even though she doesn't believe in curses. But yeah, I did kind of cringe at it though when she's sitting there and she's just like, "Yeah, my sister stole my husband from me," and I'm like, knowing what the movie's like, reading the description of the movie or whatever, knowing that like she falls for the brother, I'm like, oh, I wonder what's about to happen. Like there was so many things in that first, 5 or 10 minutes of the movie that were just, I don't know, it kind of made me cringe a little bit.
Which also we find out, I think this is about the time that we found out about how Loretta's husband died, getting hit by a bus.
They just walk out in front of it. What happened here? There's no elaboration on that. Just he got hit by a bus.
So again, sounds like he had some pretty bad luck.
Exactly, but that's because they didn't get married. They didn't have a wedding. They went to the courthouse. The dad wouldn't pay for the wedding, and it cursed the marriage. And now she doesn't have because she wanted to wait to have a baby, and so that she didn't have a baby, so she doesn't have her husband. She doesn't have a baby, and she doesn't have anything right now. That's again, that's one of those things. The more and more we talk about it during the time of it, I'm like, okay. But the more I think about it, is okay. Yes, again, not a comedy, but it's funny. It has humor stuck in it.
Well, Johnny asked Loretta to invite his estranged younger brother Ronnie to the wedding. Ronnie and Johnny have not spoken in 5 years. Loretta returns home and informs her parents of the engagement. Cosmo, who runs a successful plumbing business, dislikes Johnny and is reluctant to pay for Loretta's planned real wedding. Hearing that Loretta likes but does not love Johnny, Rose tells her that true love can cause romantic partners to be easily hurt by each other. So is this like an Italian? Because obviously, so like she's living with her parents, and then their dad lives with them. Which there's he's older. And she's not married, but like they mention like when they get married, like, where are you gonna live? You're gonna live here, and she's like, no. And then they're like, we'll have to sell the house then, because so is this like an Italian thing? You like live like together, or?
Well, I think if you've seen any of the Godfathers and stuff like that, the Italian families. I mean, the family is key. Plus, I mean, if you remember John Mahoney's character when he saw the house, he's like, and I live in a one-room apartment. Evidently, it's a pretty big house for one thing, and so and Cosmo's rich because there's three types of pipes. And he's able to sell. But no, I think Italian culture, and I may be wrong about this, is very close to like Hispanic culture, where the families stay together and stay in houses and stay just the family unit is always going to be right there with each other.
Well, didn't they even mention that in Goodfellas, where they only did things with their family? But they didn't live with each other. But like, if they went on vacation, they went with their family. If they went to the store, they went with their family. If they went, wherever, they went with their family.
Yeah, I think for us, I mean, you can kind of see it in the South down here, but not necessarily in the same house. But usually, people that have land, you see people that will pull up a trailer and have a trailer put up next to their family, or they'll have build house on land, and you see that a lot. That's I guess the southern version of the Italian type of family is not necessarily in the same house, but on the same land, they're going to build houses that are going to be right next to each other. So again, it's the same but different, I guess.
And then we get the phone call he has with Johnny, where you see him in Italy with his mother, who's on the verge of her deathbed. She did not seem on the verge of death at all.
Not at all.
It's a miracle. Oh man,
I saw it and I was like, "Is this dude just delusional or something?" Like,
I mean, a couple things before that. Okay, so Johnny hadn't talked to his brother in 5 years. Hey, Loretta, will you call my brother, invite him? I'm surprised she didn't ask, well, why don't you? I mean, I know they said they didn't talk for 5 years.
Also, just kept his business card in his wallet.
Yeah.
Just had it on deck. Like,
and then the fact that Cosmo wouldn't pay for the weddings. You know, the first wedding said, you already got married once. I'm not going to pay for this one. You know, and
I'm not going to walk you down the aisle. You didn't walk me down the aisle at the first one.
You know, but that whole not paying for the wedding caused, you know, the grandfather a lot of distress, because he mentioned it at the cemetery to all of his old crony friends too, and it's just one of those things where you kind of look at the storyline. Well, is Cosmo not wanting to pay for it because he doesn't believe in marriage? You know, or because that is true. That is true.
That's why.
Well, no, unless he's buying a fur coat and a diamond necklace or earring or whatever it was for his mistress,
or encouraging to buy copper piping again.
Oh, don't get me started on that scam. He's a
scam.
No, I'm not. Okay, it's not a scam, but he's definitely he's playing it up. Like, you have to buy the most expensive, pipes there. It's the only pipes I use. It's like, okay.
Like the kind of pipes you have, which is garbage, and you can see where that's gotten you. Then there's bronze, which is pretty good unless something goes wrong, and something always goes wrong. Then there's copper, which is the only pipe I use. It costs money. It costs money because it saves money. I mean, and then the funny thing is, he's practicing because he tells his mistress the same story. They always get copper. Well, copper's expensive. That's how he's.
You're so smart, Cosmo. The doe and the comment back at it.
That is so perfect to compliment Rose, who just sees through him all the time, and but his bimbo is like, "Oh, Cosmo," just kind of like looking at him. Yeah, that was.
Loretta goes to see Ronnie at the bakery he owns and learns Ronnie has a wooden prosthetic hand caused by absent-mindedly putting his hand in a bread slicer while having a conversation with Johnny. Ronnie's fiance subsequently left him. Loretta insists that they talk privately. Can I get through this?
I'm sorry.
I just got to thinking about this. Is it a bread slicer or just a knife?
Give me the big knife, the really big knife, so I can just cut my throat. I'm just sorry. Go ahead, finish.
Sorry.
They go to Ronnie's apartment where Loretta cooks a meal and both have several alcoholic beverages. Loretta compares Ronnie to a wolf that would gnaw off its paw to escape a trap and claims he deliberately injured his hand to escape a bad relationship. Ronnie reacts fearlessly and passionately, kissing Loretta to her surprise. Loretta kisses him back. Ronnie carries Loretta to his bed where they make love. Yeah, so I mean, this is the introduction of Nicolas Cage, who is by far the best part of the movie. But yeah, I mean, you go back to the thinking it's like a play. I mean, this whole speech he does, it's like theater.
That is a monologue right there, yeah.
And he is Nick Cage cranked up to an 11 throughout this whole thing.
And then I like the lady that works in the. I love him, and he doesn't even know it.
Such a traumatized man.
Oh no! It's just, just the little nuances of that.
What is life? Bread is life.
But the prosthetic wooden fingers too. Just looking at him makes me laugh. And then just the story again. I was distracted. Just blaming his brother on him cutting his own fingers off.
I think I had the same reaction Cher did, where he told this whole story, and she's just like, "So, it wasn't your brother's fault at all.
So
like,
hey,
you're just holding a grudge for whatever reason.
I want to, I want to get to know you, so I'm going to cook you a steak. I want it well done. You'll get it medium well, however I cook it, basically. I mean, I'm like, man, I want to introduce somebody to introduce themselves to me, and then all of a sudden cook me a steak right away.
This whole interaction just goes. It's like, okay, can we go talk up in your room, and I'm gonna cook you a steak. I mean, I guess this goes back to her being kind of the provider, like she's gonna cook this steak for him.
Yeah,
and then it just escalates into them having sex. It just comes going. It's like, all right.
Man, the kitchen, the flipping the table, and then he grabbed her and kissed her, and I literally said, "Oh." I was like, "Oh, that was quick."
The best part though is when we get to the title part of the movie where they talk about the moon. So you first
that's Cosmo's moon.
That's the moon I was talking about at dinner.
And then it flips to Loretta and Ronnie, and they're looking at it, and she's like, "I've never seen a moon like this." He's like, "What does he say?" It's like a big ball of snow. Or
yeah, it's like a big snowball.
So why did Cosmo deny that it was him out there looking at the moon that whole entire time? You know, because the brother was, that's Cosmo's moon. That's your moon. And, no, that wasn't me. Because he always had that turned down face. It wasn't me. You know, I didn't understand that part of it. But again, I guess that's the magic of the moon, that big moon.
Yeah, but I do like, kind of, if you do kind of get back to the romance thing side of this, where he goes into the whole, like, if you think about Johnny and the comments he made, like, you know, I think it's funny when a man can control his woman, and then you look at Loretta and Ronnie, where he comes in and says, you know, "Hey, I want a steak well done," and she says, "You'll get it bloody," and it's just like, I really like the contrast that it brings out, showing that, like, they're clearly not meant to be together, but it's just convenient and everything.
But that's that's one of those things where if she marries Johnny, she's going to get her parents' marriage. But she has, but in Johnny, I mean, in Ronnie and Nicolas Cage, she gets a sparring partner, which to me, my wife and I verbally barb with each other all the time. That's half the fun. Is just being snarky to each other, and not mean. I will make sure to clarify, not mean to each other, but just being smart alecks to each other, and that's part of the fun, is finding somebody that you can do that with,
Oh, 100%.
Sometimes it's fun.
Until you're the one that's constantly bullied, sucks. You need to tell us something.
Man, look, I'm just gonna tell you. You think I can be sarcastic and kind of mean sometimes. My wife can be mean. She says some hurtful stuff. It pierced you in the heart. Like, okay.
Yeah, we've talked about some of the stuff your wife says to you at your house, and I'm like, do I need to bring out Pastor Dakota so we can have a therapy session, or can I be your friend for a minute?
Well, that evening, Rose's brother Raymond and his wife Rita join Rose, Cosmo, and Cosmo's father for dinner, and they wonder where Loretta is. Raymond recalls a particularly bright moon that he believes was in the sky when Cosmo was courting Rose, which Loretta and Ronnie witness as well. The next morning, Loretta is overcome with guilt, but Ronnie promises to never bother her again if she attends a performance of La Bohemia at the Met with him. Loretta goes to church to confess her infidelity and afterwards calls at Raymond and Rita's store to close out the cash register. Upon leaving, she impulsively goes to a hair salon and buys a glamorous evening gown and shoes at a boutique. One part that did make me laugh, though, is when she goes to confess and she goes through 3 different things, and the priest is like, "What was that second one?
What was that second one?" I watching this also, the opera scene, is that not Pretty Woman? The Pretty Woman, I mean, when again, Julia Roberts' character goes to the opera, doesn't have a clue what's being said, and Richard Gere had to kind of explain it to her, just like Nicolas Cage. At the end of the opera, they're crying. That's almost identical from each other. But you also get that, once you see Cosmo and the hussy, you're like, okay, when's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? When are they going to see each other? you know, and that, I mean, it's just the different times where they kind of
And then
avoid it, but
Nick Cage and Cosmo at the bar together, and yeah.
yeah.
But then the that's not your fiance, that's not your wife.
Just like the classic, like, okay, we didn't see each other, like he's a
Yeah.
teenager in high school, like.
Yeah, he was waiting to see what he would say, and then they looked. I made eyeball to eyeball, but also like this is what I like. I like when they did the transition with Cher's character with Loretta, because with Johnny, Loretta was going to stay Loretta the way she was. She was going to have the gray in her hair, and she was just going to be matronly the whole entire time. But then she gets invited to the opera, gets her hair dyed, gets her hair done, gets makeup on, finds new clothes. You know, this is where, okay, as somebody that's kind of has been a widower, just finding somebody that can kind of rekindle your light again instead of just sitting there just going through the motions. Because Loretta would have just gone through the motions with Johnny, just being a well, again, she would have been Rose, is what she would have been. But then you see the relationship with Johnny. I mean, is it? Is it a match next to some kerosene? Yeah, but again, for some people that's good. Some people, Loretta and Johnny is what is good. Again, that's
Mm.
one of those things, kids. If you don't know, every marriage is different, and every marriage works different.
I think we've talked a lot about how this movie is funny, and obviously, but I think this is where the romance side comes into it. And I think you hit a lot of the high points on, but if you really kind of watch, Cher's face throughout this, like Loretta's face throughout this whole scene, you see the impulsive decision to stop at the boutique and get her hair done. You see
Hmm.
the impulsive decision to stop in and do it, and you can kind of see in her face the wheels turning of the kind of like, is this is this like a feeling? Is this something that I like? Is this something that I could chase after? And then, when she actually meets up with uh, Ronnie at the opera, and they see each other, and seeing the
Hmm.
little smile on her face and things like that. Like, this is where that stereotypical, like, seeing each other across the room type of thing happens. And
Yeah.
I think this is where they bring in the romance side of it, like you were talking about.
And then they counter that with Rose, who knows her husband's cheating, and the sadness where you have Loretta who's starting to have that fire built back in her, and you have
Hmm.
Rose who feels, I don't know if she feels dead inside, but she's hurting right then.
Yeah, this is the same scene where she went to uh La Tocini's? Is that it?
Yeah, the Italian restaurant, whatever.
The restaurant, whatever it
Yeah,
was.
where she goes by herself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Quick question. Did they ever like say how old Ronnie's supposed to be?
No, but
Because
he's
she's
definitely
37.
significantly
He
No,
Johnny.
Cher's 40 in this
I
movie, and he's 23 in this, and
was about to say Nicolas
that's
Cage was
real
early
life.
20s.
And then Danny Aiello, I think, was like 13 to 15 years older than Cher. I think he was born in like 33, and Cher's born in the mid 40s, I think, or something to that effect. So there was significant stair step ages between all three of them.
I forget Cher is that old. Even Kamei, I was talking to Kamei about this movie
78
earlier.
right now, I think.
Yeah.
I think
I
she's
was talking to
78.
Kamei about it earlier, and she said that Cher was older. And I didn't realize she was that old now.
Well, Loretta is deeply moved by Love Bohemia, and while leaving the opera, she sees Cosmo accompanied by his mistress Mona and confronts him. As Loretta is with Ronnie, Cosmo suggests that Loretta keep their encounter a secret. Loretta attempts to return home, but Ronnie desperately persuades her into another tryst. That same night, Rose dines alone in a restaurant and sees a college professor, Perry, being dramatically dumped by a female student. Taking pity on
Again.
Perry, Rose invites him to dine with her instead, allowing him to walk her home, but refusing him to invite him in because she is loyal to her marriage. Later, Johnny unexpectedly returns from Sicily after his mother's miraculous recovery and meets with Rose at the Castorini house. They agree that men chase after women for fear of death. Ernest,
Yes.
take it away.
Wow. Okay. Why?
Wow, okay.
Okay. Well, I guess I think that's one of the big questions. For me as a married man is why. Why do men cheat or why do women cheat or anything like that, And for me, I was still trying to grip what is the fear of death.
I didn't get that.
I didn't understand that, but again, I guess I'm not wired that way. But what I, what I did like, I liked what Johnny said, is like Adam trying to get his rib back. That's why men go chase around or try to chase after women is try to get the rib back. I'm like, wait a minute, what? You were trying to get the rib back? That doesn't make any sense. That sounds like a reason that somebody's given to try to have an affair.
I'm tell you, the whole time they were talking about the fear of death thing, and that's why men cheat. I couldn't stop this sitting here thinking that the fear of death is what prevents other moral issues that prevent me from cheating. But one of the top reasons is the fear of death, because if I ever do cheat on my wife, I'm not going to be alive.
You're going to die. Yeah.
I'm going to die. So, we have different reasons. You cheat because you fear death, but I don't cheat because I fear death.
Or worse, you won't die. You'll be severely maimed. And it won't just be your hand getting caught in a bread slicer either.
Yeah. No, but I think this whole scene here, and then we talked about this earlier, where this is where the movie kind of picks up. This is where you kind of, one thing starts leading to another. You have, and I think immediately after this, you have Ronnie convincing Loretta to come into the apartment with her. Then you have that same night, it cuts to, immediately after this, with Johnny arriving back at the house. Then you have the whole scene with Rose and playing that, everything that plays out at the restaurant here. This is really where kind of things are starting to pick up, and it really kind of paths are starting to cross and intermingle back with one another, but just the whole time. And, I think this is really where you kind of see the fact that, Loretta comes to terms with the fact that, hey, that she actually is, in love with this guy. That she actually let me not say in love, that she actually likes him. She's cooked him a steak and went to the opera with him. I'm not going to say that she loves him.
And had sex. Don't forget about that, too.
Yeah, she did have sex with him.
It must have been one heck of a doozy night, too, because he was absolutely in love with her after that one night together.
I'm in love with you. Snap out of it.
But, I mean, you really kind of see, it's like you said, you see a lot of changes in the characters where Ronnie cleans himself up. You see the change in Loretta, and then going into this, and even watching the whole opera, where she's just like, yeah, I'm not really that big into operas, but then she's moved by the opera, and as they're leaving, talking about the whole, well, I didn't see her dying, I didn't see that happening. Like, I knew she had TB, but I didn't know it was going to take place, and then seeing her dad and confronting her dad, and like everything with it, and kind of realizing that, hey, like, I'm a lot like you, like I know you're cheating on, my mom who you're married to, but I'm also cheating on my fiance who I'm betrothed to be married to, and like kind of seeing that realization in herself. And I think that's kind of where she struggled with it, and
for me at this point in time, there are, two cinema pieces to this. One, I loved that they were actually outdoors, were actually cold. Whenever Cher talked about being cold, you saw the breath. I liked that. It wasn't on the studio. It was outside. It's one thing I liked. And Johnny's suitcases were necessary because you had all the deeply emotional things that were going on with all the characters. And not forgetting the emotional thing with the grandfather seeing Rose and Perry walking together also. So all of our characters in this family have these emotional things that are going on. So having the bit with Johnny leaving his suitcases over and over again, to me, was kind of necessary to bring some levity to the emotionally complex part of the movie, I think.
Returning home next morning, Loretta is distressed to learn from Rose that Johnny will be there soon. Ronnie arrives and Rose invites him for breakfast over Loretta's objections. Cosmo and Grandpa emerge from upstairs. Grandpa insists that Cosmo agree to pay for Loretta's wedding. Rose then confronts Cosmo and demands that he end his affair. He is upset but gives in, and at Rose's insistence also agrees to go to confession. Both reaffirm their love for each other. So, real quick before we get into this, because I do have something I want to say about this last scene as we get to start talking about it. But I do want to go back to the previous night when Cosmo comes in after going to the Met, going to the opera, and she asks him where he's been. Like he's just like blubbering through, like where have you? It's kind of like deflecting it. That was pretty good.
Well, that's
but,
he did that throughout the whole movie.
The whole movie,
yes,
he wouldn't
but
answer anything.
That was probably the best part of it was when he came back from the Met. But
and then he did the same thing with Johnny though, where I can't remember exactly what he said here, but Johnny's like, "Yeah, you didn't really say anything. I don't get what you're saying."
That's
just
the
like,
part I'm talking about.
It.
Yeah, he's like, yeah. But look, I this movie, I didn't really enjoy this movie, but this final scene was, to me, probably saved the movie for me because it was pretty good. This whole like breakfast thing and like all the characters keep coming in and there's just all this stuff going on. Like Grandpa finally gets it off his chest that he's got to pay for the wedding, and we're just like,
he found the right room.
We're like 9 steps away from you, Grandpa. Like,
well, I mean, and the whole dragging on Johnny actually coming to the door, because the first one, was Ronnie. The second one was the couple that she they forgot to put the money in the bank. So you're like, okay, first when Johnny showed, you're like, oh, that's not Johnny, that's Ronnie. Oh, then you got, okay, oh no, Johnny's here. No, that's not Johnny. And so you're just it's kind of like building you up until he actually shows up, and just he was happy. Johnny was happy that Ronnie was going to come to the wedding. Then all of a sudden, he was upset. Then then they said he wasn't going to marry her, so he was fine until Ronnie said he wanted to marry her. Then he was upset again. I was like, y'all are confusing.
Well, let's not skip over. First of all, Rose is my favorite character in this whole movie, even probably more so than Nick Cage. But her when she sits there and she's like, "You're not going to see her again" or whatever, and he's just like, "Okay."
Yeah.
Like, that's it. Okay. And then what does he say?
You miss it. He stands up, slams his hand on the table, sits there for a few seconds, and then sits back down and just like, okay.
Okay, I guess it's that simple, I guess.
I don't plan on ever cheating on my wife or doing anything significant like that. But even the arguments we do have, I wish they ended like that. That would be. But
to be fair, Suggs, a lot of our arguments probably would end with our wives if we would just say okay and just go home.
That's true. That's a good point.
Well, here's advice. Depends on how you say okay.
Yeah.
Oh man, I hope my wife's not listening because but I was dating a girl one time. I accidentally texted K instead of okay, but just by accident, and she yelled at me she was so mad. I can't stand when people
okay
because I put K instead of okay, and I'm like, it was an accident. But that's neither here nor there.
Come on, it sucks. How awful of a human being are you for forgetting a letter?
That better be the cutout right there. the call right there. I would put money on it that it won't be.
Well, Raymond and Rita arrive, concerned that Loretta had not deposited the previous day's takings at the bank and are relieved to learn that she merely forgot and still has the money. When Johnny finally arrives, he breaks off the engagement, superstitiously believing that their marriage would cause his mother's death. Loretta berates Johnny for breaking his promise and throws the engagement ring at him. Ronnie borrows the ring and asks Loretta to marry him, to which she agrees. The family toasts the couple with champagne, and Johnny joins in at Grandpa's urging since he will now be part of the family, after all. Yeah, okay, so this makes absolutely no sense. So he tells well, first of all, she's not as sick as he thinks he is, but let's assume let's assume that she is in his mind. So he tells her that he's getting married, and she makes this miraculous recovery, according to him. So to him, that means I can't get married because she'll die then. What sense does that make?
Yeah, she was dying when you weren't engaged.
When you told her that you were getting married, that's when she got better. So in your mind, that means you can't get. What's shit? That's the dumbest thing. It makes no sense.
I
Hey,
agree,
dude can't even remember
he,
it. Can't remember his suitcases, man. Come on.
remember, he doesn't want 2 women taking care of him. He just wants one. And since his mom is being alive again, well, I mean, what did it make any sense that Loretta said her marriage was cursed? That's why her husband died, because the dad wouldn't pay for a wedding in a church.
But that makes.
Did it make sense for the old lady to curse the plane and hope it dies, even though she doesn't believe in curses? I mean,
I can buy more into Loretta's theme than I can Johnny's theme. Johnny makes no sense, and the way I heard it, you should get married. That's what keeping your mom alive.
Well, but again,
I get what you're saying, but his reasoning was that he can't get married because that will kill his mother. Yeah. It makes absolutely no sense.
I agree. But here goes again the crazy part of it. Loretta gets mad at him for breaking up with her.
Yeah. So why are you getting upset? You didn't even get it. And that's the thing. I don't know if y'all noticed this. She's not even wearing the engagement ring on her ring finger. She's wearing it on her middle finger.
I slept with your brother twice, but now you're not gonna marry me.
Now, in fairness of the rings, I guarantee you, Danny Aiello's fat little pinky finger is probably bigger than Cher's middle finger. So that's probably the only place.
That's what it was. It's temporary.
That's probably the only place you can put it.
Oh.
But I did like.
I like that Ronnie asked to use the pinky ring. That's great.
No,
this is also the least amount.
Didn't she tell him to give him the ring?
Or she asked for a ring. Yeah, where's the ring or whatever?
Okay, so
yeah. I think this is also the least amount of talking you see Ronnie do in the whole movie. Because he's just like, they're just sitting there and they're talking, and he's just like, "Hey, I'm Ronnie."
Oh, he throws these little quips in there every now and then, just like at the dad and things like that. So
he's enjoying his oatmeal.
Exactly. He's not going anywhere. Yeah, he's here to stir the pot up and just see what happens, because he knows.
I should tell Johnny, "Hey, you're glad to see me. Not for long." There was a lot that kind of went on in that scene, though. That was I kind of did relate to the granddad a lot, though, but because it's kind of awkward. Everybody's sitting there waiting, and then he's just like, "Well, somebody tell a joke." No, I get it, dude. Like, somebody break the tension.
Don't forget Loretta telling Ronnie that his mother has made a miraculous recovery, to which he did not care about at all. All right, that brings us to the end of the, what do we call it? I forget every
podcast?
Week. The rehashing, the whatever.
The plot review?
It's time, yes, plot review. There we go.
Our gentle musings.
And unfortunately we have no anecdote about Ernie's hair loss this week before we go into our rankings. So I guess we'll just go straight into them. Unless, Ernie, you do have a special story to tell us?
No, but I don't.
Oh.
I'm old, and it's about time for my bedtime.
Did you do anything special for your birthday today?
No, not really. Again, that's when you get the older you get, it's like, no, you don't. You just,
it's another year.
Just have a birthday.
I had something.
Sucks to be fair.
I had something I was gonna say, but I'm just gonna. I'm gonna not be sarcastic, Caleb, for a minute and just go on. What
growth? What growth and what strength? To be fair, when's the last time we went out to eat for like either yours or my birthday?
I don't know. I mean,
I don't know that either one of us. We're still in our 20s.
Last year for my birthday, we did a thing in my mom's house, but that was just really like the family coming together playing cards or something.
So we didn't even do that. I think we went out to eat, maybe.
Yeah, but you're not a big birthday guy. I mean, not that I am either, but you just like don't care like about your birthday.
It's a miracle if I remember it. I texted Suggs. I texted you 2 days after.
Yeah, I was just impressed you remembered it all. I'm sure you didn't actually remember. Kamei probably told you.
No, I absolutely
Kamei texted me at the exact same time that you did.
No. Let's set the record straight for this. I reminded Kamei because you texted me. I think your name popped up, I was looking at a text. I can't remember what it was. But anyways, I was like, "Oh yeah, Suggs' birthday was a couple days ago." Kamei said, what? It was? And I said, yes, it was. I remember it was not Kamei. Kamei's about to come through this door through here. I could feel it. I'm just waiting.
All right, well, time to go into the rankings. And this week we'll have our full 3 rankings again. So, Dakota, since it's your movie, we'll let you go first.
All right. So I'll be honest, I enjoyed this movie. I didn't really sit down and like try to watch this movie as a like something to pick apart or anything like that. I kind of went into it knowing that, hey, this is a romantic comedy, and it's probably not something that it's going to be. The plot's going to be sound. That everything's going to wrap up. Everything's going to be great. Like, you know, I didn't go into that. I literally just went into it just like, let's just kind of see what this is, because I had no idea about it, and I can absolutely see how some people will sit down and just watch this as a feel good movie.
Yeah.
Just sit down and enjoy it for what it is, not really think too much about it, and just kind of pick up into it. It's really just one of those like kind of like at home feel good movies. I've the more we've talked about it, I do really like Olympia's performance in it. I like Cher's performance in it. I really liked. I liked all the actors and everything. I really feel like every actor fulfilled their role fairly well, and I don't know that there's really anybody that could have done a better job for any of the characters that were in there. With that said, though, I think I'm going to give this movie an 8. Honestly, I mean, like I said, I enjoyed it. It's not some blockbuster that's just going to, I think, blow me away. You know, it's just like something that I have to sit down and watch. But, you know, if Kamei sits down and watch it, I might sit down and watch it with her. You know, or then in a few years, if Kamei's like, hey, let's watch a rom-com or something, I'll be like, hey,
anything else to say about Kamei? I heard she's kind of a jerk.
I told y'all she was coming. I told y'all she was coming in here. I knew it.
I was trying to get him in trouble.
I bet she can't hear.
I was about to say, yeah, in case she can't hear it.
I know, that's why I was like, I'm just gonna sit here and maybe try to edge him on. He don't know she's in the room. Maybe he'll say something. All right.
Don't worry about it, Kamei. Go on. 8. That's my rating.
8. Okay, so I'll go next, and we'll leave Ernie for because I'm gonna have a little bit of a different. I did not enjoy this movie. There were probably 5 or 6 times that I looked to see how much time was left, which is pretty funny because it was only like an hour and 40 minutes. You know, there were probably a few things that like saved it, you know, for me from being like just a terrible movie. I thought the casting was great. I thought the casting was fine. All the characters were good. I just didn't like the story, and it obviously was not funny to me. I mean, some parts here or there that made me chuckle a little, but like it's not funny. And I think I go back to what I said earlier about, you know, if I watched this in 1987 as a romantic comedy, maybe I think differently. But as in 2025, as a 29-year-old, having watched romantic comedies from the 2000s and stuff like that I do find incredibly funny, this movie just doesn't hold up to me. Rating wise, I'm gonna give it a 6.
That actually surprises me.
Yeah, I didn't think it'd be that low.
I thought it was gonna be lower from him. I didn't pull the trigger on it. I thought you were gonna go lower than that.
No, I think, like I said, I think that I think this is a movie that some people do really like, and that's fine. And like I said, I think the casting and the acting in it is good. That's not necessarily a problem there. I just didn't enjoy the story of the movie, and I didn't find it funny, and you know, I just thought it was boring. So
yeah. Looking back,
there are worse things to watch. I'll put it
like
that way.
Jumanji.
I think I gave Jumanji a higher score.
No, you gave
Princess Bride higher score.
I would watch Princess Bride over this movie.
Really? God. Yes. But I think that's the difference, though. And sorry, I know you get to it, but like, say like I enjoy like Broadway shows and things like that. You know, like when me and Kamei went on cruises, like there's they've put Broadway shows on there, and I've gone to those and enjoyed those. And I mean, I was a band kid growing up in high school, so like,
I
when
do
this was
too.
more of a play and things, I don't know, that might have something to do with it.
I mean, I do too. I mean, I've told you before. I've went and seen a lot of plays, and the Phantom of the Opera is one of my favorites that I've ever gone and seen. But that being said, I mean, there's bad plays too.
Yeah, but I don't think it. I don't know. I enjoyed it.
I mean, I think that's like I said. I mean, I think this is. I mean, obviously, it's got a 89% on Rotten Tomatoes and 80% from the popcorn, which is the people. So obviously, a lot of people do like this movie.
Mhm.
It's just not for me.
Yeah. That's again that this is a distinct difference, I think, between decades of romantic comedies, because again, this is not much of a romantic comedy again for a modern day tale, but again, this is, I guess, like I said earlier, I think this is the difference between a cinema type of movie that has, I guess they try to put more depth. This movie is deeper than The Proposal. The Proposal to me is funnier, but if you're looking for a deeper type of movie with deeper type of things going on involved with it, then this is not as an outlandish type of storyline compared to The Proposal. Also, again, Proposal's funny. I'd laugh my butt off every single time, but these are, even though they are probably in the same classification as a romantic comedy, they're not the same thing. But in the same way, this is the first movie that we've done that my wife watched the movie with me. She was bored out of her mind. She was not paying attention half the time. And I'll be honest, I lost a lot of attention too going on to it. As we're thinking about it more, there are bits and pieces of the movie that I really liked. Again, I thought the Nicolas Cage character and the Olympia Dukakis characters, Rose and Ronnie, I really, really liked. Cher did a good job too. I still don't think Cher should have won the Academy Award. I think it was a good job. I don't think it was a great job of it. But again, it's an enjoy movie. Will I watch Moonstruck again? No, I'm not going to watch Moonstruck again, just because I mean it is what it is. So I understand it is more of a theater type of movie, and I like theater too. I mean, I've been in musicals, I've been in plays. I love, Broadway musicals also too. But again, it's eh. So I'm going to give it a 6.75.
Right.
Yeah, I definitely think it falls into which I think actually brings it into the rating of a cult classic.
Yeah.
And I really think, and I think our score kind of shows that you have the people who love it, and the people who don't.
Yeah.
All right. Well, 8 from Dakota, a 6.75 from Ernie, and a 6 from me brings it out to a 6.92. Ernie, where does that put us on our rankings?
That puts us at 25. It is in between The Princess Bride and right above Jumanji.
And if you would like to see our full rankings, you can go to our website, which is podpage.com/classic blockbusters. It'll have our full list of rankings on there, as well as our episodes with cool little movie posters that go with them. And I think Ernie said there's a place where you can write into us as well.
Yeah.
All right.
So feel free to do that. So we'll try to respond if you send us stuff. We can give you headshots of Caleb, and he'll sign them for you.
Yeah,
just
I'm sure those will be worth a lot of money.
Yeah,
just mail in a self-addressed stamped envelope, and he'll send them to you. The
stamp will be worth more than my autograph would be. Just saying. Yeah, so podpage.com/classic blockbusters. That's our website. You can find us on Facebook, Blockbusters, a classic movie podcast. Listen to us obviously on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, but you can also now listen to us on YouTube as well. Ernie, please tell us what our next movie will be.
Our next movie, as I'm making my decision as we speak, so I'm kind of delaying.
Do you need a drum roll?
No. I was gonna avoid this, but I'm not going to. So we're going after a '90s rom-com with,
we're doing 2 romantic comedies in a row,
and we're going 4 Weddings and a Funeral with Andy McDowell and Hugh Grant. So 4 Weddings and a Funeral, not to be confused with a TV show that they made called 4 Weddings and a Funeral. So this is 1994's movie 4 Weddings and a Funeral.
Hang on, I'm gonna have to find something really depressing for my movie when we get around to it.
The thing says dark comedy, romantic comedy, and satire.
Yeah, satire is probably more along the lines of what it is. If you've seen Notting Hill, it's probably in the same vein as Notting Hill. So that's kind of what you're looking at there. But yeah, again, there were other movies in my head too that I've had on my list for a while, but then I just punted all of a sudden after seeing Moonstruck and being disappointed with the romantic comedy. I was like, okay, I want to go. I want to go with 4 Weddings and a Funeral, and also see how the genre has grown in I think it was 7 years. So there you go. Crickets.
I was just texting you already just to laugh at you.
I'm alright.
What?
I was looking it up.
Hey, you got to pick movies like that. I told you I'm gonna. Hey, sorry that me and Dakota are trying to make you grow one movie at a time.
One movie at a time.
Because you'll get your chance. I'm sure it's coming. Conan the Barbarian is probably coming next, or something like that.
Conan and the Barbarian.
No, Conan the Barbarian.
Conan. I would never wait. That's the Schwarzenegger movie, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Why would I would never pick that movie.
Oh, I'm sorry. Don't mean to insult you. That you pick
the,
some muscle-bound guy in an action movie.
If I'm gonna pick a muscle-bound guy in an action movie, it's gonna be a Stallone movie. Okay, I have.
Oh, sorry, Cobra. My bad.
Sylvester. Hey, that's a good pick. I might be.
Yes, it is.
Stallone and Schwarzenegger. I mean, that's like Edward and Jacob from back in the '80s.
Let's wrap this up before we go.
What would y'all do without me? All right. So, anything to add?
I don't.
All right. Well,
it would have been. Hey, you know what? This would have been. Nino Brown would have been in this movie too. He was in New York.
I was gonna wish you a happy birthday again. No, I don't really want to. But Dakota, it was nice to have you back this week.
Oh man, I'm so happy to be back. Golly, I missed it.
Ernie,
I know, I'm here.
Happy birthday.
I'm the bad. I'm like the flu. It's hard to get rid of me sometimes.
Still trying. 6 months ago, we chose to put you on this show, and I don't really know what we were thinking.
Hey, that's y'all's fault. Now you can't get rid of me.
All right. We could. I mean, we
could.
I control when we record this. So.
That is true.
So I choose to have you. I'll send you the link to this.
Watch our ratings go from like 12 people to 11 people, because you won't have me listening anymore.
Ernie's dad's not gonna listen to us no more.
My daughter's gonna protest.
All right. So nothing else to add, Ernie?
We'll see you at the movies next week.